I'm Shane Downey with the Global Business Travel Association, and I am joined today with Laura Dawson, Executive Director of the Future Borders Coalition. Laura,
Hi, Shane.
how you doing?
I'm doing great.
You just did a fantastic panel with a gentleman from a Customs Border Protection and a agent from the CBSA here in Canada. It was a fascinating discussion. I think, what were some of your high points, your biggest takeaways from the conversation with them?
Sure, absolutely. So we had Canadian Border Services Agency and we had U.S. Customs Border and Protection because they were talking about some of one of the most important elements for a business traveler in the North American space is getting across that border. How easy is it going to be? What are the procedures? What do you need to prepare for? How do you need to prepare your staff? And no government entity is going to be aggressive, confrontational. They want you to travel, but sometimes it's very daunting, it's confusing. The procedures are different on both sides of the border. And so what we were talking about is areas that Canada and the US cooperate on border movement procedures and some of the areas of friction, because there are still challenges. And for the business traveler community, it is, what do we need to do to make business travel fun and interesting and profitable and bring people back into business travel? The government entities, nobody wants to make it difficult, but there's still some frictions and some mismatches. And that's what we do. Our organization, Future Borders Coalition, we do it with you, GBTA, to try to make it easier and better to get those folks across the border.
Well, and it's fascinating because you talked about the friction aspect of it, and there's been so much conversation around the use of technology. The demands are there for the Trusted Traveler programs, but we're having trouble keeping pace with the demand. So I think, as you're looking through your crystal ball, what are some of the technological developments or items that you think show the most promise, or that you're the most excited about?
Sure. There's a couple of different areas. One is trusted travelers, so that you can move through an airport easily and quickly. So they know, hey, you're Shane and you're no risk to us, and you match your picture and you match your information. Come on through. You don't have to spend a long time in line. So trusted traveler is one thing. And then when you're actually moving across the border, what are you bringing with you? What's your intention here? What's in your baggage? You're here for a conference, you're here for business, so that border movement element. So we want to have apps and information sharing devices which help to move that along, speed that along. Every airport, every government, every airline thinks they've got the right solution, but unfortunately, when you're a traveler, you're now stuck juggling 9 or 10 different solutions. So we're looking for ways to amalgamate and streamline and synchronize so that it is a more seamless process, so that you're not having to go back and forth between your apps and figure out what you should be using. And heaven forbid you're someone who's not comfortable using a digital handheld device. How can we manage their movement through airports? And then finally, building public confidence that they're using your information for the purposes that it's intended for, that it's not doing anything, demographic bias and facial recognition. We want to make sure that it's fair. And really, the digital technologies are the thing that's going to make our travel easier and better, but we have to build the public confidence, we have to streamline it and make sure we're all marching in the same direction.
Yeah. Well, and I think that really kind of goes into your conversation then, towards the end, about passenger facilitation. It's not just a nicety, right? It is going to determine our economic success, our safety as we go through. But as you said, we still have the trouble with the education and convincing people, not just people, governments and such. And so I guess, what's your message for our listeners to take away on what we can do to help move this along?
Sure. So our border officials on the front lines, they work really hard, and I have no fault at all with them at all. They're doing the best they can, but we really need to get the message to our elected officials that travel, business travel, it's not just nice to have, it is essential. It is a core part of the economy. Here in Canada, it contributes tens of millions of jobs, billions of dollars to GDP. So if you want economic competitiveness, you have to have effective business travel. It also contributes to the security of our territory. We want lots of travelers, but we also want to make sure that it's the good folks that are coming in and we're screening out the not so good folks. And so we need to be convincing and sending the message to our elected officials that business travel is essential for our economy and it's essential for our security, territorial security, and make sure that that message goes to them so that our border folks get the funding and the resources that they need to make the business travel journey easier and better.
No, it's so right. When you're talking about, I mean, we're talking $345 billion being pumped in through business travel around the world, and the amount of money coming from the Canadian business travel. It's vital. It's vital to the economy and the economic future of our world.
Exactly.
It's just,
Exactly.
so much.
Yes.
So thank you very much. It was a fantastic panel discussion. Really appreciate you coming in and talking today as well here on the broadcast studio.
Thanks, Shane. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for joining us today at the GBTA Canada Conference broadcast studio.